be helpful.
We'll record it.
There you go. No, we've got that.
No, we're good. We're good.
Sorry about that.
Awesome. Okay, so we are recording now. So we will have everybody that comes up to speak will be right here so that the people at home can also hear what's going on and we can record you. My name is Troy Scott. I'm the principal here at Oak Park. It's great to have everybody here in person and at home. And we have over here Madame Girardin.
Hi, one of the vice principals.
And Mrs. Greening, Tracy Greening, the other vice principal.
Yeah, and we have also have Miss Martin here as well, and a few of our fearless leaders, Zoe and Nina, who are going to be doing speaking as well tonight. So we're really, really excited to have you here because we're excited to be able to tell you things we can do, not necessarily things we can't do. But it's early in the year as well in some senses. We've just finished the first term, and there's a few things that we wanted to talk with you today about. Just to get you thinking not just about the end game, but some of the things in between. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about graduation requirements, some of the credit checks. We've talked to students about this. So we had an assembly with them a couple weeks ago to get them pumped up and to talk to them about it. And we presented a lot of this material to them and took some feedback right there and are presenting it to you now so we can start to move forward with the planning pieces. So we're going to also share some of that scholarship information, stuff we shared with them. So you, when you go home, or for you at home, you may lean over and say, hey, have you looked at the scholarship website that they've shared with you at school? You're more than welcome to do that. And I found out you have access to it as well, which we'll share shortly. Then, of course, at the end of the year, all the festivities that we currently are working on. There will be more, but the ones that we're talking with you now are some of the key ones at the end of June, so you can start to put things in your calendar. We will get started.
All right. So I am here just to tell you a little bit, and we'll do this briefly because the students know about this part, but it's just an overview again for yourselves to make sure you're having that conversation with your student to double check as we finish off first semester and go into second semester that they have all of the credits they need to graduate so they can be celebrated with all of our grads in their class of 22. So this just circles for everybody the grade 12 requirements in the English program. So there's the English class, the math class, the phys ed class, and then they need 2 options at the 40 level, so the grade 12 level, but there are a number of post-secondary institutions that do require a 3rd. So that's just something they could talk specifically to their counselors about.
And I can talk a little bit about the requirements for the French Immersion program. So there is the same requirements in terms of English and math and education physique. There's also the Français 40S requirement, 1 other option in grade 12, or 2 if they are considering post-secondary. And one of the things that we also talk to students about is if you know that you are going to be pursuing some post-secondary option, that you check what their requirements are. So for example, if I'm interested in taking biology, I'm making sure that I have biology here in grade 12. This one, next one, yeah. So in order to make sure that all our students who are planning on graduating are on track, every student does get a credit check. There are 30 credits needed for graduation. The counselor will go through and check every single grade 12 student and to make sure that they are on track, and that's the plan. At the end of the day, students do have the final responsibility to make sure that they are taking what they need, especially because the counselors aren't necessarily going to know what it is they're pursuing after. So just have a conversation with your child about, hey, are you taking the right courses, or is it looking good for semester 2? Because there are some optional credits that may be needed if they are pursuing something different.
All right. I put this up at the assembly a couple weeks ago, and I saw a lot of heads nodding when I put it up in front of the 200 or so students who are in their room. I said, do you guys put your, do you ask this question a lot of family dinners recently? And a lot of head nods. Thanksgiving was recent, and it can be a stressful time for students because they're figuring out, they get that question everywhere they go. And they get it from their parents, they get it from their grandparents, uncles, aunts, friends of the families, and it can be stressful. So one of the things that we like to talk with them about as they're planning for their future and talking about how they move forward, right? And there's different paths for different students, and we talk about growth and being prepared for that next step, and that's what Oak Park's all about, getting them prepared for that next step in their journey, whatever that be. So it could be post-secondary, it could be work, it could be volunteering, it could be traveling. It can be a lot of things, but when we talk to students here, we want them to be taking that positive next step in their journey that they're excited about, and support them that way. Because I think sometimes they feel a certain stress to do something that maybe somebody else wants them to do, and maybe something that's not quite what they're sure about right now, that unsureness. So it's a hard thing, and it changes. It's going to change if this is your first child in grade 12. For those of you that have been through it know that pressure changes, and the things that they decide they want to do change over the year and over the summer. But they get there, and we're here to help too. So I'm very happy, and I know the team is very happy to be able to talk with students about that, not just the counselors, because there are some decisions to be made for sure.
In terms of a little bit of information about post-secondary, because students are coming and asking counselors about it, and we thought we would share this information with you as well. Universities in Manitoba, the deadlines to apply are March 1st. Out of province universities have different application deadlines, and they have amazing websites, so please just check out the websites to find that out. Red River Polytech is what it's called now, Red River College Polytech, has ongoing deadlines. So it is a first come, first serve. So we are encouraging any student who is interested in that they should be applying right away, because there can be lengthy wait lists for that. All of the universities and colleges have websites, and we have links to that, which we'll share with you as well. You went too far. One of the Mr. Scott talked a little bit about, we shared some scholarship information and where students can find that. And there are some differences with some of these scholarships that are available. So external scholarships are scholarships that are put out by the different organizations. They are not internal, they're not within the school. We'll show you a place where you can find information about that. Some of them are quite prestigious. You know, you're competing against 20,000 people across Canada. Some of them are smaller. So to read the description and find out more about what are the requirements for the scholarship is really important. Some students think, oh, I'm just going to apply for everything. And then they find out they have to write 10 essays, and, you know, your marks have to be 99%. Like those ones, you might want to weed out what's important, as well as some scholarships are based on what you're doing outside of school or what you're volunteering with. So just check the criteria. There are a lot out there, and we have some information about where to find that information about those external scholarships.
I said we didn't have.
All right, Ms. Martin.
Wait, Mr. Scott.
Yep.
She needs to talk internal.
Yep. Oh, sorry. Yes. And I'm just going to answer a question that's on the chat.
Okay. So we also have internal scholarships. So these we call school and community-based scholarships. These are organizations that donate money directly to the school that our awards committee would
All right.
disseminate, I guess. We have the students fill out one application asking them a series of questions like, do you play hockey?
Well, apparently the meeting started and
a life
I'm getting no
science?
sound.
Are you attending Red River or MIT?
It is being recorded.
So they are not only mark-based. So we are trying to get the most students to apply for this, and that application will come out after spring break. So it is one application. We take the students that we have and what they are qualifying for, and then we match them with what we have access to. So these are things like the Rotary Club. There is a hockey memorial scholarship that is donated through the Winnipeg Foundation, right? Red River, MITT. So tell the kids it's free money, so it never hurts to apply, and we do our best to match up. And again, it's not all mark-based for this. So.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. Just a few questions I see that are coming in from the virtual universe here. We are recording this, so for anybody who is having sound challenges, we will be posting this just on the link that on the same site, that graduation site on our webpage. So we'll post the recording of this for anybody who missed anything. And if you do have questions, let us know, and we will we'll be able to answer them in the chat. It says here that there might be some families that are having troubles getting in. We do have that recording, as I said. It is open, so there's no when they do open the link, it should open for them. And they may have to restart, but they can directly access. There's no permissions required. So apologies to those people who can't get in.
Okay, so you just heard a lot of information around post-secondary and planning for the future and where you can find scholarships. So we wanted to point out for all of you on EDSB that all parents have access to and students. We have the Oak Park Guidance Department website or page underneath the groups. So if you scroll to that, all parents should have access, including the students. And on the bottom side on the left, if you scroll down, under the Oak Park Guidance Department listed on the side there, you can see that little red arrow is pointing to where the scholarships are under the post-secondary. So those are all the external scholarships that are offered there. So absolutely, we ask you to take a peek at that and invite your students to do the same so that they have an idea of where they're going as they're looking at that. Okay? Are you two almost ready? This is the exciting part. I get to introduce you to, and I'm turning to their page so that they have it in front of them. I'm going to introduce you to our two amazing grad co-chairs who are these amazing voices for the crew of 22. This is Nina and Zoe, and they are going to talk to you about all of the things that the grad committee does and stuff they have in the works and what we're going to talk about later on. All right.
All right, so hi, I'm Zoe.
And I'm Nina, and we are this year's grad committee co-chairs. So we've been starting to meet with admin and our teacher advisors, and together we're starting to discuss and plan some exciting grad events. So some of our main responsibilities are just up on the screen there, starting with the grad-related school events. So a couple of our ideas so far are a grad picnic or brunch and a grad retreat. And then we've also started fundraising, which goes towards a pool for decorations for the dinner at the convention center and the other events that we've started to plan.
So we currently have a gift card fundraiser for Sobeys and Shelmerdines, which is due on Monday. So definitely go check that out if you haven't already. We're also planning on hosting a one-night Indigo event for sometime in the new year, hopefully. And we're also excited to help out and work with the dinner organizing team and valedictorian selection, which is super exciting. And finally, we're the link between the students and the parent safeguard committee. So any important updates from us,
Give me one second.
any important updates from us and admin can be found on the Crew of 22 EDSB, and that all grade 12 students have access to, as well as the parents. We also post updates on our Instagram page at OP Grad Committee 2022. That's available for all students and their families to follow.
Awesome. So that Crew of 22 EDSB page, just before we scroll past that one, is just students on that one. But anything that we're posting on there will also link to the graduation website page so that parents have access to the big important ones as we go through. There you are, Ms. Martin.
Okay, so as the girls mentioned, we are currently running a Sobeys, Safeway, and Shelmerdine gift card fundraiser. The link was sent out through School Messenger a couple weeks ago. It is also on the grade 12 Crew of 22 page, so if you need to access it, get your kids to send it to you. It's also, I think, on the Instagram, perhaps.
I believe
it. Yeah, it's everywhere. So orders are due on Monday, and again, that money goes into a common fundraising account, so it's not like an individual fundraiser, because the goal is to try to make these activities more inclusive and more accessible to everyone, and also we want to jack up the school. So in terms of decorations, in terms of event, really giving the kids what they deserve and giving them a great time. So if you have any questions about that, I'll stick around afterwards, or you can put it in the chat on the Teams. But we are hoping that things come in before winter break. But with the supply chain and the mail and everything, it's the only one that I'm not concerned about, but could be after the break, is the Sobeys Safeway, just because of shipping and such. So, but every time I've done it in the past, it's been a very quick turnaround. So I'm hopefully optimistic. We'll play it that way. So gift cards. Yeah. Okay.
We can work together too and make sure that that blitz goes out one more time before Monday so that we have it.
For sure. All right, so we put the graduation calendar up here because one thing we realized we confused some of the students with in our assembly was what all the different activities were. because we've done them many times, but maybe they haven't seen it for a couple of years. So I see this is a pretty popular slide. I think I might like send this out in a, maybe in a parent email soon, right? That might be a good idea. So I will definitely do that, just to grade 12 parents. So another piece of communication that we do is whenever you'll get as grade 12 parents specific emails through Messenger from me. So I'm if there's anything that's going out that's significant, like those signups, I'll messenger it out to just to grade 12 families. So you get that too. And you also get it, we post it on the Edsby River of News across the top. And then we get it out also into the groups to the crew of 22. So we're hitting it from a lot of different angles. So the very most exciting time of the year, the last week of June. So the first thing we do here, and I love this, I got to experience this last year, is at Oak Park on the Friday before the activities. We end on the 30th this year. We allow students to pick up their convocation gowns. So we have a pickup, and that allows them to make plans that weekend with the gowns to go different places. They also come to the school. We make sure the grass is cut at the school. They can come back and take some pictures around the school and around different places in the city. It looks like that new conservatory is going to be done pretty close to then. I was walking around there. There's some really nice pictures that you'll be able to get with your families, which is super exciting. Keep those gowns in one piece. So when you return on the Tuesday is a convocation event. So that is where you get the formal diploma. That's where we confer that you're officially graduates of Oak Park. It's the most exciting day of the year for us because it's very emotional, and it's just a culmination of 13 years of hard work. So it's awesome. And if you had a chance to see, we didn't show the video from last year. We made some lemonade out of lemons last year and had a really fun event, and we think we're going to be able to go even bigger this year, which we'll talk to you more about. So that's going to run all day, and it's going to be in 1 hour slots, so you won't be responsible for being here all day, but I'll talk to you more about that in a second. So that's the Tuesday. You're graduated. Awesome. So the next day is the dinner. So Oak Park hosts a dinner, and that's run by the admin, teachers, and students help us, and that's at the RBC Convention Center. They have capacity for 3,000, and they plan on running a capacity of 3,000. They will require double vaccination at that event. So that's something that the kids, as they fundraise and they look to do some decorations for that event as well. It's basically runs from about 5 o'clock, 5:30 till about 9. Then after that, which is what all the students have been waiting for, is the parent run Safegrad. And so we're happy to share some information at the end of this as well. I've done some research, and there's a few experts that I know are here, which is awesome, that are going to be able to take this and run with it. So the Safegrad runs after the dinner, and there's options this year. And we put question mark for location because it does not have to be at RBC. They do that out of convenience and a thank you to us doing the dinner. But when in talking to them, it is not a requirement. They're very happy if the kids want to jump on a bus and go somewhere, but they're also very happy to host it as well. So just a little food for thought there as we get into things. So just a little, if those who didn't get a chance to see the convocation that we had here, we threw a couple pictures. We turned the front of the parking lot into a picture / gray carpet for the Oak Park Gray / balloon station, flowers. It was a lot of fun, and there was a lot of music. There was people outside that were cheering the kids on, neighbors. It was a really great day, and each student got their moment. When you're at the RBC and you're shuttling through 200 kids in 3 hours, they get about 7 seconds. Here they got quite a bit more, and that's our plan to give a lot more again this year, because the feedback was very, very positive from the parents and the kids in terms of having their moment. But of course, like anything, we want to ensure we take it, we learn, and we become even more inclusive for the kids. So the big thing if you want to know the why we want to do it here this year, vaccination status and inclusion. We want people to be able to come. We do not want that to become a barrier to our families and our kids in any way. So we're happy to do that here, where we can have everybody together, and we can have a combination of students of things inside the school and outside. So that's our vision, and we're going to share a little bit about that today. And we shared it with the kids also a couple weeks ago. So right now, the capacity in our gym is around 350, right? So that's quite a bit. And so with that number in mind, what we're looking at doing is 1 hour time slots and groups of around 30 students and up to 8 guests. And if you picture the gym, don't picture it like that, but then picture it being souped up. And picture a whole lot of decorations, because last year we started planning this mid-May because there was We weren't sure what was going to happen. We want to start planning this now. And we want to start, like, our goal is to start calling companies like later in the week and booking all these things so we can get the ball rolling and get in front of the line. So what does that look like? A picture coming in. You can close your eyes if you want, but I got some pictures here. You want to? Yeah, it's all part of my vision.
I was like, okay.
Yeah. Ladies know I've been working on this. So we didn't practice. Yeah. So what would look like is you and your entourage of the student and their up to eight friends and family would be able to come in. The first part would be in the gym, and we'd have lots of decorations and surprises as you walk up towards the gymnasium through the doors and into the gym, which would be decorated significantly different than what you see now. We're fortunate to have access to a lot of big black curtains and setups for theaters here at this school, which a lot of schools don't have. And we have time, and we have decorators that we're going to hire, and a vision of what that's going to look like for staging and music and seating. So the gym will be transformed in that. And I wanted to give you just a few ideas. You see a picture from Ryerson University of that background. That's an indoor event. We just spent $40,000 last year on 2 huge screens in the gym. So the projection screens we have are at least that big, and we have 2 of them. So we'll be able to do some pretty fun stuff there with the grads and pictures and getting them potentially up there as well if we have time. And when that grad comes up, we'll be able to we'd like to continue to do the individual conferral ceremony. I did it 174 times last year. In 30-degree heat, I think I can do it in the gym. Again, it's tons of fun, and we're able to do we've got a few ideas to do some special student-specific things when they cross the stage too. Because again, instead of having 3 hours, we have 6 or 7 hours. So we don't have to rush, right? And then of course, there'll be lots of opportunity for kids to be able to go with their friends. And that was the big thing, the big feedback piece. The kids want to go with their friends. And last year we had to restrict it to roughly like 10 in a group. This year we can do a whole lot more, and we can be a whole lot more flexible if we have 350 people, and we can have parents. So one of the things that we did learn was, and we got the feedback from the parents, was don't allow the students to pick the time, allow them to just pick their groups so that you can jigsaw them all together to make, because we still got to get them through in one day, right? So that's one of the things that we'll take and we'll do. We'll let them make sure they have their groups, and then we'll arrange it so that it flows. And then maybe if there's 31 in this group and 28 in that group, that's okay, because we can just adjust the times a little bit to make it work for everybody. So that's what we learned. And then part 2, they're gonna go outside. Yeah. Do I do this homework? I just keep going?
You go. I feel like you practiced it. You go ahead.
I love this stuff. I really do. I was actually, when I started teaching, I did grad as a teacher, as a grad supervisor, so at Fort Richmond, so really get into this stuff. When you walk outside after, so think of the whole group going outside, we're gonna have a tent company put up a big tent, so rain or shine, we'll be able to do some pictures, do some gathering, some informal pieces where friends can get together outside in various places and have some picture stations as well. So they can gather and celebrate some music, some decorations, and a good time. So that would be the hour, and then the rest of the day is up to the families, and then the next day is Convocation. So I have a few questions here from the online.
Don't ruin my slide.
I know.
Sorry.
So one question was, just so, and I'll repeat it, is can you clarify, did you say all welcome to in-person ceremony regardless of vaccination status? And that is correct. All right, so right now, for schools as it is, we do not ask parents for the vaccination status when they come in for parent meetings. That's part of what is required to support students in school. So that's our plan moving forward. All right. Convocation will be in the gym or outside. Great question. So the first part will be in the gym, decorated up, and then the second celebratory part, the second 30 minutes will be outside. So that's the flow we're envisioning of the day. And we'll hopefully, now that we've made these decisions, be able to let the kids select their groups and do that earlier and give you your times earlier so you can adjust your work schedules and do all that hopefully by early May as opposed to the 2 weeks before, and get this all sorted out for you. Some good questions. Is there any other questions in the room here? Yeah, go. Oh, that's super nice. That's awesome. I was in a suit last year, and my superintendent showed up and thought I'd lost 15 pounds. So I appreciate you thinking that. We actually have, and I really appreciate you bringing it up, We have actually people that are assigned on our staff to do water stations. It is a pretty cool, well-oiled machine because this is going to be the third year we've done more of an all-day event than the 3-hour. But we'll think about that. Like if there's
We don't say no to baking.
Yeah.
perfect.
And the first year we ran the outdoor convocation, it was 2 days of 35 degrees. So this is a well-oiled machine at this point, cutting it down to 1 day. And then we're fine tuning as we go.
Yeah, so the question was, is there anything the parents can do to help the staff during a hot day at the end of June? And we said, thank you very much. So I just repeated that, thanks. So the question was, is there anything parents can do to help us with that day? And we said, thank you, we will keep that in mind, and I'll get your name later. But I think we have it, covered. That's very kind of you.
Another question, right?
Oh, question in the room.
A lovely idea that the kids get to kind of choose their cohorts, but how's that going to be managed so that each group of 30, what's the process for that?
In terms of allowing them to choose, so we're going to allow them, it's pretty tentative right now, so it's more a vision. But what we would see is creating a form. That's what we did last year, where they were allowed to submit names. Last year we had a limit of how many they could submit, and that created challenges. So when I talked to some of the feedback after the assembly was, how can we make sure that if there's some bigger groups, how can we accommodate that? So the main thing is, if we do it early, we can find out who are the groups, and they want to merge some groups, and I get that, and then we'll do our best to accommodate that.
And so the idea is 30, give or take.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And ultimately, it's the administration that's going to come into all of it.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So the question was from the parents in the room was, how are we going to decide, like, what's a process for deciding those 30? And you heard my response in terms of, we'll come up with a form where students will be able to submit their groups. And I know there'll probably be some that come to me, and we figure that out manually as well. But the good news is we'll have time to do that. We're going to want to be around 30 so that we can also maintain, we're also going to want to find out how many people they're inviting, because that also helps us with that room. So I think, as I'm thinking out loud here, you see a combination of who are you going with, but also who are you bringing with you tentatively. Because some people will know I'm bringing 2. Some people will know already I'm bringing 8. I don't know which 8. And then we can figure that out. Family cuts. Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions? Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. And if we, yeah.
So that's like 270 people.
Yeah.
Vaccinated status does not matter? Not for this.
Not at school.
Only for the convention center.
Yeah.
Okay.
And everyone will still be masked.
Yeah.
Within
Yeah.
there too.
Yeah. Yeah. So parent just said that the quick math is we'd be able to roughly have it 30 students and 8 guests each, 270 people. And here, and it actually, the way we can space that out with groups is quite manageable, because the capacity of the gym is 700, and we've had more than that in there. So it will actually be relatively comfortable, and we'll be able to get some music in there too, and some staging, and it'll be a good time. Yeah. Any other questions?
Do kids have to walk across the stage with a mask on?
Question was, do kids have to walk across the stage with a mask on? Nope. We actually encouraged them not to last year, and we will again, because what we'll do is we'll arrange it so there's some distancing there. So we want them, there's also be a professional photographer. So we're going to hire one again for sure. So then the parents don't have to stress out about getting that perfect picture. Yeah, and what we did last year is we hired a professional photographer. Actually, she's had 3 kids come through the school. And what she does is we hire her to take the pictures. She takes 2. She actually takes way more, but she finalizes 2 really nice ones, and she puts them in a Dropbox. And then once that's done, I just send you an email, and you have access to that Dropbox for a month to pull off whatever you want. And she also does candids as well. We'll have them do candids outside. So there'll be a combination of somebody doing pictures inside and one doing pictures outside. And then you literally can go, and they literally arrange it by time. So when you go into the Dropbox, you can look at the candids in that hour. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it just takes you that pressure away from getting that perfect picture, and you can enjoy it.
I'm just going to jump in on that. We also have a staging area before students cross the stage. So usually Miss Martin and Miss Nelson will be standing there, and they'll make sure the tassel's on correctly, your hat's not on backwards, take the mask off. Sometimes they were just putting it around their wrist last year, and we're like, no, stick it somewhere that you can't see it in your picture, right? We made sure we were able to slow everything down. so that people were able to get that perfect photo as they cross the stage and not have to worry about us being in or
And
this
I'm an
guy being
expert
in
at
there.
straightening out, because I do that job at the convention center as well, so they'll look good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Their tassels in the right spot, their hair's all nice,
Yeah.
so.
All right, so I'm gonna jump us to the next slide. So we're picturing this now. Friday, they come to the school, they pick up their grad blue gown and their cap. Sorry, you can go to that one. You can go, it's okay. Sorry, she changed the slide here in person. I'll change it so we match. So Friday, they pick up their grad gown and the white stole that goes over top, their cap and their tassel. They take all of that for the weekend. Then on Tuesday, they have it for this convocation event. Once they get outdoors and they finish their piece there, they're going to return their gown and their stole. They get to keep their cap and their tassel. And then hopefully they're going to get a lot of sleep that night, because the next day is the graduation dinner. So the graduation dinner on June 29th is going to be at the convention center. So it will be a double vaccinated event, because that is what they are requiring. So it's voluntary. Okay, nobody has to go to that. It runs about 6 to 9, the formal presentation. But as Mr. Scott said earlier, we usually open the doors around 5:30. So people start to trickle in and mingle a little bit before the actual program starts. There will be tickets, so that's part of the fundraising and the pieces that we're going to talk about that the girls are spearheading. That is where some of the money goes to, is how do we now transform this large convention center into a beautiful evening for our graduates. So we have a couple images there just to wrap your head around it. It is a more formal dinner, so it's plated. The girls will have some say into what kind of food we get. They might not go to the tasting. They'll have to arm wrestle us for that one, but we'll see how it goes. And then that's also the formal attire. So that's where, you know, we're renting the tuxes or buying the suits or buying the gowns, etc. That is usually happening for this event, if they are wanting to do that. There's usually a short number of speeches, so there is some staging pieces there, and we have music playing, and it's of course decorated. And then this one is a sign up grad and their guests, but the guests and the number is determined by the table size and the number of seats that are on there. So they have mentioned to us already their capacity is 3,000. So we'll just have to figure out what our table size is, and then we go from there. And again, it's an online process where they go in and they buy tickets. This is how many I want. This is the seat I want. Who's at my table with me, etc. So we get all of that and we coordinate it all together so that we can have a lovely evening at the graduation dinner. Okay. Any questions about this particular one? Yeah. Absolutely, parents can go to this. Yeah. It's just, yeah. Yeah, so the question was, are parents allowed to go to this one? And yes, parents are absolutely allowed to go to this one. And then the second part of the question is, how many guests are they allowed to have? So in the past, we've had around 6 guests, but we haven't finalized what exactly that number is going to be yet. Again, it'll be determined how many sit at a table, so that there's a nice balance in between. You have 10 at a table, maybe how many are we going to use? So if I'm sitting with maybe friends of mine, we might say, I'm taking 2. You need 3 extra, I may need 4, etc. And we'll work it through that way.
Crystal, do you remember how many it was?
10, I think.
You had 10? Yeah. So, and then you can sort of sit together, because we can have maps of this is what the layout will look like. This is where the tables are, so that people know I'm in proximity at least to the other people if they're not at my table directly. So it's usually about 10 per table.
Cost roughly per ticket, I'm remembering from the past about $60.
Yeah, so I believe the last one that I had here, the cost of the ticket is the question, was 65, I believe, was a couple of years ago. Well, a few years ago now. 65 last time. So we're looking at probably that same, but again, it's those fundraising opportunities that the students are talking about that are going to help to lower that. And again, be inclusive, and we want to have as many people attend as they can. So this is the fun event. The parents are there, sometimes grandparents, etc. The staff are there. And then at about 9 o'clock, all the staff start to back out slowly. Okay, or sometimes, and then we turn and run. Okay, there's a quick question in the chat that we'll have to talk to is for those that are not vaccinated, can they take a rapid test beforehand so they can go? We have to default to the RBC Convention Center on that, and I don't believe so. So that's where we stand with that one right now. Okay, so the staff are backing out slowly, and Mr. Scott will now tell you about the next portion around SafeGrad.
Awesome.
There you are.
All right, so SafeGrad. This is the time after the dinner. So we transition our students from the grad dinner at around 9 o'clock into the SafeGrad event. So this is a parent-run event that is actually insured, and there's some guidance from the Manitoba High School, like the Manitoba School Boards Association, I should say. And it's just a way to promote, obviously, a safe environment for students to celebrate. There is alcohol there, and there's some rules. Obviously, we don't allow grads, our guests, they're not allowed to drive. So there's rules around security and making sure that students do not leave unless they're checked out. And there's certain times that are usually put on that. And no one under the age of 18 is allowed to purchase, possess, or consume alcohol. That's what the rule is. That's the rule. So it is, as I said, it's 100% parent directed. What we help with the school is we help with the meeting location. If parents want to meet here, we're willing to facilitate that still, just like we did this meeting. And we also help by if there's, whenever the parent committee is, the chairs have been determined, if there's any information that they want us to send out, we can easily send it out to the grade 12 parents very quickly. I did that last year for the group that did an event in August, and I was actually sending emails for them in July as well. So I'm happy to do that, but we're going to be doing this in June for sure, 1000%. It runs, as I said, after the school run dinner from 2 to 9. I put 9 to 2 a.m., but sometimes it's a later evening with pickups. Options are convention center or other, depending on what the parent committee decides. Obviously, if you go other, there's going to have to be a transportation requirement from RBC to that next event. And then transportation figured out for parent pickup wherever that event is. Ranges from $30 to $50. Crystal, you probably know better what you guys had fundraised for. It really just depends on the amount of fundraising, I guess, the cost of the SafeGrad event and the vision and the theme. Yeah, so that'll be something that'll probably be finalized in May, I would say, in terms of the cost, maybe a little earlier in terms of predicting that. And there's some insurance guidelines. The Manitoba School Boards Association does an information day on it that's been postponed into the new year. So there's still time for that. And I have some documentation here for the group on that as well. One of the pieces, like I said, is they provide insurance which is key for these events. So the insurance piece and this actually doesn't have to be filled out until May, but most groups will get it in earlier. And it just has wants them to have a rough idea. They want to know whereabouts the event's going to be and some of the general details, and who obviously the organizers are as well. And then there's themes. Usually the SafeGrad parents will work with the students to determine what's that theme going to be, what are they going to be. And you know, by popular request, a student in our school, Colton, really wants a taco bar, so I promised I'd put a picture of the taco bar in the bottom left. So make sure whoever knows Colton, make sure you let him know that Mr. Scott put the taco bar in there, because if I have him come into the office one more time to ask about the taco bar, I'm like, it's not my call, okay? It's the parents' call and the students' call, Colton. But it's a fun evening. It's a great evening. It's good to have some activities too for the kids to keep them busy and not drinking too much and remembering their night and safe. So it is a great time, and the parents always do a great job of it. And we're just really happy to be able to say, let's get it done, let's get it going, and let's make it happen. This one will be a double vaccinated event. It's an optional event. I can't see a place where it wouldn't be that, because you'd be having to use a venue, and all the venues that we can think of in the city would require that. So in terms of next step, which we're very happy to continue supporting in this meeting, is determine our SafeGrad chairs. I will mention Angela, Sarah, and Crystal have usually the parents get to decide. Usually I have to armbar parents to do this in my past life at another high school. Kindly, I had an email from these three on the weekend offering their services, which is amazing and really appreciated, especially when we haven't been able to run our True Safe Grad event in the last couple of years. So they have volunteered to do that. That's more of a conversation that the Safe Grad group can have. But I think with Crystal having past experience too with Safe Grad and knowing how that plays out, that's a huge benefit for the parents and the students, knowing what the end game is, big time. So there's my shout out for you, Crystal. Right, and then next up will be, and there, like I said, there's a Safe Grad meeting. You may or may not need that depending on the experience level of the parents that have been through this, because it really just goes through the book that is provided. And I have copies of the Safe Grad handbook for parents that want to take a look at it on the way out. It's pretty thick, but and pretty prescriptive, but yeah, it's a lot. But it's always good to, it's on the website too, and we'll post this information on that graduation website so people have it. But there's lots of opportunities for parents to sign up for smaller things, and it's very important that parents do so. More hands make lighter work, and I just know having, parents that have maybe backgrounds in policing, do some security, they know how to set that up. Some parents that have backgrounds in health, maybe doing some, doing the, shall we call it the first aid station, and logistics, financial, et cetera. So there's lots of roles, and there's lots of opportunity for you to circulate. And I always say to the students who don't want their grads there, trust me, you won't even notice your parents are there, right? Because you're not going to be, I'm going to tell you once, you're not going to be those parents, right, that are like, keeping an eye on your kids all night, right? You're going to give them space. So I'll make sure I tell them that at the next meeting as well. Yeah, so that's the only time you're not allowed. So until the end. Yep. So that's basically Safe Grad there, which is awesome. Does anybody have any questions about that part of the event? I can get us on this.
Been booked yet? Just because I'm an event planner, and next year is completely booked. Has anything been booked, like entertainment? Anything has been booked? Just the space for RBC. Yeah,
RBC is available, totally available, and so they're just waiting to hear what we have to say on that part. We want to stay there. Yeah. And then the rest of the bookings.
With the time frame that's going on, to try to think of a different venue would be not a great idea. No, plus the cost of it and shuttling kids. And then it was the right decide.
Yeah. So the comment was just with the timeline, making changes to the venue will be difficult to do, and it is convenient having the students, not having to transport the students to a second place. Absolutely. So not a bad decision. I just wanted to throw that out to you guys. A few questions on the chat too. I can get us, so one question is just around a Safe Grad mailing list. What we can do is, I'm thinking we will send an email out. I didn't think about this right now, but we'll send an email out to the parents and those that are interested. And what it'll have is just a link to this presentation, and those parents that are interested in being part of the Safe Grad. Also, so they can actually, those that didn't see this can actually look at it, and then there'll be a form where they can sign up and we can get their emails that way. And then what I'll do is I'll pass those off. It looks like a parent here has already crowned you guys co-chairs. Congratulations. So Todd just crowned you guys co-chairs. So I'm not sure. Thanks, Todd.
Todd's in charge of security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd, you're doing security. So, well, one parent just asked about the scholarship information we talked about at the beginning. So we will post that recording for you so you can watch the whole thing in its entirety, or just fast forward to the parts that you need. And it will be located on for anybody with technical difficulties, it will be located on the graduation page of our website. So in that email that I send out today or tomorrow, tomorrow or the next day, it will include all that information, plus an opportunity for parents to give their email, because you need to actively, even though I have your emails to give it to Safe Grad, you need to give it to me again so then I can pass it on. That's an active thing, so that when you're giving that email, it says that I'm giving permission to share my email with the Safe Grad Committee. Right. There's already some volunteers here for security. Todd, security. Kent, security and food. So finance here too.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we'll do too, and maybe just to make it easier we can talk after the meeting, and I could put specifics too, if you want me to list specific committees in there, who ones they'd be interested in, I can also put that in there for you. Yeah. Yeah, totally happy to help you with that. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Any other questions at all? So maybe what we'll do is we'll have the co-chairs stick around and we can talk about next steps, and then to expect a parent meeting probably pretty soon in the near future around SafeGrad that we'll send out by email. Awesome. Great. Okay, the time is 7:16. I'm going to turn off the recording, and like I said, we'll get this posted up on our website as soon as possible, hopefully tomorrow first thing. Take care, everybody. Stay warm and have a great evening.